welcome to the Joel Frank podcast, where a Guyanese speaks about life, Guyana, the happenings, IT, and literature, some topics more than others. Secure messaging apps and places to learn to code. Security and privacy are no doubt a concern this day and age, where we may be on the cusp of what's next for the internet with Web3. There is nothing like the peace of mind that comes with having privileged conversations with people in your lives without having to worry about those conversations being eavesdropped on or your messages being stored and archived for data mining and other nefarious purposes. Up to recently, my favorite app for secure conversations was Signal. However, it has come to my attention that Signal may have blasphemed in not having updated the code for their server on GitHub. They are effectively closed sourcing the source code for their server, preventing it from being easily audited by the public. While this may have been the case a year ago, I don't think it still is. In fact, I'm looking at the repository on GitHub now, and it was last updated 18 days ago. So maybe I'm late to the party, or early, who knows. The news about Signal becoming effectively closed source started around about the same time as they implemented a new payment system into their app using cryptocurrency called mobile coin, a sort of centralized cryptocurrency. So in summation, the Signal team didn't update the source code for their server on GitHub for a while, but then they started again. They adopted a less than ideal cryptocurrency, perhaps for monetization, but definitely to facilitate the sending and receiving of money via Signal. So then maybe just avoid using the payment feature. The same source from which I initially came across the previous bit of information mentioned a messaging protocol called Matrix. I've just started using it last evening, and maybe in an upcoming episode of the podcast, I'll talk a bit about what it's like. Though initially it does feel a lot like Discord. Indeed, the only way to be certain that Signal is still open source and privacy focused is to be able to read code and analyze it. The first thing you're going to need to do to be able to read code and analyze is to learn to code. So let me quickly tell you about 3 websites that will teach you to code for free. So in no particular order, freecodecamp.org. Here you can learn to code using web technologies like HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. You can also learn a bit about Python and database management. You'll be able to earn a certificate at the end of whichever course you choose. W3 Schools. Here you can learn to code via tutorials and paid courses where you earn certificates. There is a heavy focus on web technologies, but regular programming languages like C, Python, and Java, and more are covered. And now from my favorite of the lot, Solo Learn. Solo Learn takes a gamification approach to teaching you how to code. It can get a little addicting. They cover most, if not all, of the interesting languages out there, including Go. So, now that you have options to teach you how to code, and therefore read code, get started, and maybe contribute to the open source movement or audit code and publish your findings. So those of us interested in remaining private online can read them and make informed decisions. If you listen carefully, you can hear the ever-present sound of crickets and fallcocks in the background. This is Joel Frank saying thank you for joining me for this episode. And if you would like to support the show, please check out our Patreon, linked in the description.